Look, the good news is we got the game that we wanted to see. We got the match. Finally, the first time in this series, it wasn't lopsided. There were double-digit leads both ways, but we got the game we wanted to see. How are the Rockets able to win Game 4?
Well, first, let me say this about Mike D'Antoni, because I think a lot of people have been critical of him, including me. Because he doesn't, in his post-game press conferences, in his off-day press conferences, he doesn't seem to talk about anything strategically or making any adjustments or anything. He's just like, this is who we are. We're going to do what we do, and we just got to do it better. I think there can be a certain part of that that breeds confidence in your players. That you say, look, you're not making adjustments all the time. You know, it's like, okay, this didn't work, let's try this. This didn't work, let's try this. He's just saying to them, we're better. If we just do what we do, we're not changing a darn thing. We just have to do what we do. So I'm going to give him some credit for that because they've maintained their confidence. And it seems crazy to say that a Mike D'Antoni team won with defense. But that's what happened. You saw Harden picking. Now, Harden has set the bar a little higher now for himself. You know, we see when he wants to, he can play a little bit of defense.
Coach told me if I see you do it once, I know you're capable.
That's right. And I think, and we've talked about this with when Houston went mega ISO in the first two games, and still they're doing that. We said it's because Golden State, one, they play ISO ball in general, but Golden State, when you switch everything, it forces the opponent to go ISO. That's what Houston's doing to Golden State. They're fighting the same battle. And like first game 1 and 3, Golden State was able to still play its regular motion offense in spite of the switching. Games 2 and 4, they've fallen into going ISO because that's the temptation whenever a team switches everything.
Here's the other thing that happened yesterday. I know you want to get to the end of the game, but just for the game in general. The Warriors aren't built to play 40-plus minutes like that. That was the most minutes KD's played all year, the most minutes Draymond's played all year, the second most minutes Steph's played, the third most minutes Clay's played. The Rockets, to the criticism of D'Antoni, has been, why you leave your guys in blowouts? Why do these guys play such heavy minutes? They are more used to it when they slim down the benches, when all of a sudden Iguodala's out with an injury. So there's that part of it, and his name's going to be forgotten, so I just want to mention it. P.J. Tucker at 6'5", having 16 rebounds. And Trevor Ariza playing the defense that he was playing throughout the game on Durant. Those are two key parts. In addition, of course, Harden was amazing in the first half. Chris Paul was amazing in the second half.
How much did the end of the game surprise you? Because you would imagine that no matter whatever the call is or no matter how crazy things get, either KD or Steph will have the ball for that last shot.
You rarely see Golden State out of sorts. And they were out of sorts on that last play. I don't mind not calling the timeout just because I get it when you want to attack the defense when they're not set.
You're going to get a better look.
Yeah, and as it's happening, 10 seconds left, they're down 2. Kevin Durant's coming down the court. In my mind, I'm thinking, okay, this is easy money. Durant's going to take a mid-range jumper because he's been killing them all series with that. He gets to about 17 feet on the wing. All he has to do is pull up. We've been talking about what? Nobody's tall enough to guard him. Shooting, exactly. And he gives it up. Now, and what I wanted to say is, look, if LeBron James did that, you alluded to it last segment, that would be the story. That would be the number one lead today would be, why didn't LeBron shoot? LeBron doesn't want to. Even after the 2 buzzer beaters he's already hit this postseason. He gave it to an open Kyle Korver last year and got killed. Open Kyle Korver.
The shot in Game 3 before Durant hit that shot, the single most efficient shot in the NBA, all teams, all players, was Kyle Korver left corner 3. LeBron generates a Kyle Korver left corner 3 to win a finals game. Korver misses it. He gets obliterated for it. KD didn't hit Klay Thompson open.
He wasn't. He was running into basically a trap.
And Klay hadn't hit a shot since 3 minutes left in the third quarter. He hadn't made a shot the entire fourth quarter, and that was the thing that's a killer to me is when the benefit to not calling the timeout is if we shoot early and we miss, we're still alive. So you can pull up for 3 right there for the win or right there for the tie.
So why do you think he didn't?
Man.
It's called real time.
Tell me.
It's called sometimes you don't perform when the lights are the brightest. You don't make the. Kevin knew that in the press conference. He said, I'd like to build maybe take that play back because that's what you do. You don't respond the way you would like in a pressure situation. But back to what you guys were talking about early. D'Antoni, yeah, he gets criticized a lot because he's not great in the press conference. And I might be a little more critical to him for that because I think as a coach, when you're speaking, there is a message being sent to the organization, to your fan base. So them playing, and you think they're up and down, their offensive efficiency, you never give a team like them the credit for, oh, you know what they got? They got grit. You know, because they played in a lot of these games during the regular season. And it played out in game number 4 in those last 12 minutes. 4 of their 5 starters playing over 40 minutes. Yep. 16 rebounds by P.J. Tucker after having a phenomenal game number 2. Hadn't really showed up since then. So everything that they've been doing, D'Antoni, that message being consistent, yes, I do believe it paid dividends in this game.
It was, in my eyes, what the Rockets did yesterday was, all things considered, the single best defensive game any team's played in the league all year. Given the opponent and the stakes, and given the fact that they withstood something since Steve Kerr's been there. No one's withstood this. 51 times going into last night, the Warriors have beat a team by 15 points in the third quarter. That's a remarkable stat in and of itself. They were 51-0 in those games. If they beat your head in the third quarter, they win. And what was the difference between third and fourth quarter? Steph was on fire in the third and 1 of 8 in the fourth. After he did that elongated shimmy, he was 1 of 10 after that. And so I know you want to talk about Steph. Can we just show America what Steph is in the 2 third quarters at home and then the rest of the series?
Wow, that's alarming.
35 points in 22 minutes in those 2 third quarters at home. 62 points in 121 minutes in the other 14. Shooting 76% to 37%. 70% from 3 to 21% from 3. So I have the obvious question to you, Chris. So what is it about his knee that gets healed in the third quarter of
if
home
the graphic
games?
said the first quarter, then the people on the injury train, they would have a longer ride.
Absolutely. Yes. If it was just like, as the game wears on.
It's the third quarter. We've played 24 minutes,
Look,
Chris.
I don't want, and I'm a Steph fan, but I don't want to hear about the injury anymore. If he goes out in game 5 and has 6 points, I don't want to hear about the injury. I don't want to hear he's hobbled. Because first of all, this happens every postseason. This happens every postseason. We blame it. And he has been hurt. But if you're playing, he's not on a minutes restriction. I mean, obviously, he played over 40 yesterday. Mm-hmm. He's practicing in the off days. You know, there are times when you see a guy, oh, he's only playing 20 minutes. Or he can't do anything in the off day. Maybe he can't play consecutive games.
Steph's getting to the rim.
Yes,
he's just missing his shots.
You
don't get 8 shots in the fourth quarter if you're hurt.
And Chris Paul. He has an Achilles injury. Nobody, when he had 13 points in game 3,
and when he in the
nobody
first quarter
said,
in game 1,
he's hobbled.
In the first quarter of yesterday's game, when he was awful, no one was cutting him any slack.
Yep.
Now, he ended up being great. He was outstanding in the final 3 quarters of the game. But I don't want to, I agree with you. It's nonsense. Van Gundy said it. He's the only guy in the league that when he's great, he's great. When he's bad, he's hurt. He's the only guy in the league.
We didn't talk about the loss of Iggy at all. How much did Andre Iguodala not being out there affect the Warriors?
It was huge. You would have thought with his play on the defensive end, obviously guarding Harden, and then on the offensive end, he could account for the 3 points or 4 points, whatever, that cost him the game. So that was huge. But now, you know, when he comes back, assuming he gets back for 5, how's he going to be? And then Klay, you know, with the knee. That might be an injury that gets a little bit worse. Yeah, exactly. That's a real injury. So they got some issues. And I'll say this. I think Houston now has the advantage. I still think Golden State's going to win. But if I'm looking at it objectively, I think you have to feel like Houston's the favorite. They have now beaten Golden State 4 out of 7 games this year. If you count the regular season, they got home court. They beat them 4 out of 7.
It's a best of 3.
They can get it done.
All right. Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, be sure to check out more of the best clips from First Things First, or go watch a few segments from our other shows on FS1.